Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Raychel Espiritu. I'm the Venture Outreach Manager at the Alliance for SoCal Innovation. And like Daniel mentioned previously, before joining the Alliance, I was at Make in LA. It was a startup accelerator program. I ran Toolbox LA. It was the headquarters for the accelerator. It was a full prototyping facility. And actually, Daniel's previous company was a strategic partner, as an IoT software development company, because we invested in hardware companies and did a lot of cool events together. I've been in the LA tech scene for about 12 years now, pretty much grown up in the space. And now my role at the Alliance, I oversee the SoCal Venture Pipeline program. Our goal is to help great companies access Series A capital. And we do that by strategically matchmaking them to Series A VCs. And so we've been operating this program since April. So I'm here today to share learnings. We have an investment committee that reviews the companies, and my job is to report back to the companies whether they are accepted or not. So we've had about 80 applications. So I've had to interface with about 80 founders to tell them whether they're accepted or not. And so as a result, I've put together the learnings that I've gained from this program and put it into a presentation. And so I know some of you might be serial entrepreneurs having raised capital. Some of you might be first-time entrepreneurs. Regardless of where you're at, I'm going to set the stage for, what does it mean to be Series A ready? What's important in a Series A pitch deck? And also I'd like to keep it open and engaging. So feel free, if you have any questions, feel free to, during the talk, raise your hand or however you'd like to ask a question. I would love for this to be interactive. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen quickly here. Let's see, window. Great. And so, really diving in, what does it mean to be Series A ready? So here's our agenda, so that way you know what we're getting into. And again, my background, like I mentioned, Mila Capital, been in the digital marketing space since before social media, so 2008. So really understanding how to drive traffic and understanding all, the different aspects, affiliate marketing and such. And so I think especially, as a startup, understanding user acquisition, digital channels, all that, I have a big background in that regards. And so the Alliance, we are a nonprofit organization, and our organization essentially wants to help bring more innovative breakthroughs to the world. SoCal is a leading global innovation ecosystem, but we need to make sure that the stage is set correctly in order for these innovations to break through to the world. And how we do this is through various programs and events. Our most recent program, like I mentioned, is SoCal Venture Pipeline, and the goal is to inject more Series A capital into the region. Silicon Valley, obviously we know, is leading in terms of later stage venture capital. Southern California, we don't necessarily have as much late stage VC money. There's a lot of pre-seed and seed and incubators and accelerators, but really there's a bit of an access gap in terms of later stage venture capital. And of course, we know there's an access gap when it comes to women and minorities. So our program aims to bridge that gap, essentially. So a little bit of background, who I am, the organization I work for, so that way you guys have some insight. And so just to set the stage, what do you mean by Series A? Essentially, so really understanding the difference between pre-seed, seed, Series A, Series B. And so pre-seed typically is pre-institutional capital. You're validating your idea, building the MVP, right? So this is usually like a friends and family round. Kind of need some cash to get the idea out there. Seed sometimes can be institutional capital, right? This is where you're building the company. You're getting the necessary capital to build the foundation. If you think of seed in terms of even a plant, right? How you're planting the seed. So your seed round is essentially to get everything you need to build a foundation, and you have a great idea. And so usually when you're pitching a seed investor, you're really pitching your idea and why you're the person to build this particular company or project or whatever it may be. So seed is really pitching the idea. And when we look at Series A, this is the growth capital. This is essentially, you've already proven product market fit. You've proven that your idea works and customers want it. And now you need additional growth capital to scale your company. And then Series B is beyond that, right? So we're scaling. We need to hire more tech, more business development, more marketing, and so forth. So just so that way we're all on the same page in terms of defining the differences between the terminology. But again, for first-time entrepreneurs, yes, maybe you have tons of years in product experience or engineering, but this, venture capital and fundraising is a whole different animal. So just making sure we're all on the same page. And so again, exactly what we mean. Seed is you're really selling the promise. And then Series B is really like you're solid on your metrics. And that A round is like right in between, to where we have this great idea. We've proven that there's a great customer product market fit out there, and we're continuing to scale. And so this is what we're seeing in Southern California and just across the United States in terms of the average check sizes for each particular round. A lot of this data is pulled from PitchBook. And this is also in terms of the Series A, this is what we're seeing in terms of the companies that are applying to our program for Series A funding. The average check sizes as low as 3 million and as high as 30 million. And again, I'm not here to talk necessarily about how to determine how much you should raise or what your valuation is, because it's all contingent upon your business model. But I'm really here to just share like what we're looking at in terms of seed and Series A and the average check sizes. Like I mentioned before, pre-seed is a lower size, so 10K, 150K, those are the average check sizes. Seed is like 10,000 to 5 million. Even more now, I mean, with fintech, we're kind of seeing this large explosion in terms of check sizes for seed funding. And Series A, 3 to 30 million. And then also, again, referring back to PitchBook, again, they have a great online resource. And, their platform is pretty expensive, but in terms of the information that they give out for free is readily available. So this is just a quick snapshot. And so you can take a look historically from 2011 to 2021. If you see angel and seed is pretty consistent, but if you look at VC, the check sizes have really ballooned in terms of, what capital is available here. So that way, and this is just in consumer tech as well. It varies depending upon the industry and sector. And so let's dial in. What does it mean to be Series A ready? And so this is specific strategic information from the investment committee, really 20% month over month growth. That is kind of the minimum baseline that investors would like to see in your company, right? 20% month over month, whether it's revenue or users, really seeing that percentage of growth. If you're a SaaS company, 1 million ARR is like the minimum baseline for what investors would like to see. And then in terms of CAC and LTV, a 3-to-1 ratio. Product market fit, can't really emphasize that enough to show that you have created something that customers want and that they stay. Again, that's why LTV is super important, because, okay, you can acquire a customer, but are they staying with you long-term and continuing to pay? Secret sauce, what makes you so special? What's different, right? Do you have a patent? Do you have a specific geography unlock? Regulatory approval, like you think about companies like Uber and all these other ones that have faced government regulations. Is there something, cannabis, crypto, right? So other industries, right, that have big regulatory restrictions. Is there regulatory approval around what you're building? And any other key milestones? And of course, the founder and founding team experience. I've actually seen a great company come through where it was a great idea, but the feedback was there's not a strong technical person on the founding team. Your CTO doesn't have AI experience and you're building an AI product, So it's really making sure that your founding team has the expertise needed to build what you're building. And then the last two, a clear plan to move forward. Again, okay, you've shown that the customers are interested in what you're building, but how do you continue to move forward and continue to monetize the product that you've built? And also the company narrative. Who are you? What is your story? Why did you build what you build? Why are you continuing to grow? What are you doing? These are all, again, it's really important to have these. And I think for the most part, a lot of companies might get lost in the sauce, right? Sometimes you're so close to something, it's hard to, take a step back and look at it from an outside perspective. But again, so this is just feedback from our investment committee on what I've been delivering to entrepreneurs in terms of what makes someone Series A ready. Any questions here so far? If not, I'm just going to keep driving forward.
Yeah, and if you have a question, feel free to just come up close to the stage. You can ask the question to Raychel directly. We're keeping it informal over here. And Raychel, I don't know if you're intending to do this, but you're showing your tab view as well. If you wanted to do a full presentation screen, it would fill up the full browser, what everyone's seeing.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm not. It's just funny. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing the full screen view. Hold on. I don't mind. If you guys don't mind, I don't mind.
Yeah, no, it looks okay. They have a sneak peek at what's coming in the next slide.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Okay, cool. And so here's a sneak peek in terms of an accepted company, their metrics. It's a hardware product. And and this is what is important, looking at the gross sales and the sales projections, right? So, like, this company has a product, it's in the market, they have not just, letters of intent or purchase orders, they have actual sales, people that have given them money for their product. And then looking ahead to their projections, how much capital they've raised. That's another key indicator. So again, like thinking back to
Actually, Sarah, I'm sorry, or Rachel, let me step in. It looks like I'm only seeing the first page of your presentation deck.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I don't think I'm looking at the page that you're sharing.
Really? Oh my gosh! So
I'm now seeing it.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so interesting. How about? Let me see. Can you guys see it now or no?
Yeah.
Okay, I see a black screen.
Now I can see that.
So this is dialing in. What does being Series A ready mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're good now then.
Okay, great. Okay, awesome. Yeah, thanks, Daniel, for chiming in. Okay, cool. Can you see this slide about the accepted company metrics?
I still see dialing in. What does it mean to be Series A ready?
Oh, weird. Okay. Let's see here. How about this example? Do you see this here?
No.
No? Oh, bummer. Okay.
What you could try doing is maybe cancel the screen share and then reshare just the maybe the whole window, or just redoing it might get it back into action.
All right, technology.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone. As I said at the beginning of the day, we're doing a grand experiment with this metaverse, and there's a little more learning pains than we maybe would have wanted, but we're having fun while we do it.
Yeah, exactly. How about now?
Example 1 is coming through loud and clear.
All right, we did it. Cool. So again, looking here, this is an accepted company that we're now making strategic introduction to Series A investors, because as you can see, these metrics are pretty interesting in terms of their sales projections, how much capital, and their current investors. Mucker Capital is pretty well known seed investor. Service customers, number of employees. Moving on, let me know if you can see this one. This is a SaaS company as well. Again here, they have 2 patents pending on their software technology. They're closing a deal with a major social media platform, and they
Sarah, I'm just being difficult here, but we're still in example 1.
Oh shoot! All right, let me see. I wonder if Okay.
Yeah. I wonder if you're operating on a different screen than what we're looking at. But we see example 2 now.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. All right. I think when I go full screen, I lose you guys, so I'll just keep it like this if that's cool.
Yeah, that's okay.
For this sake. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. So this accepted company metrics. This is a SaaS company. Again, looking at all these metrics here, these are the type of metrics that, if you're going an alternate route, if you're crowdfunding or if you're doing other alternative sources of capital, these might not be as important. But if you're really looking to go the VC route, and you're in terms of looking ahead and raising Series A capital, these are the type of metrics they like to see. And so, again, Richard Wolpert, who's serial entrepreneur, is the founder of Hello Tech. He's a partner at Amplify, well-known seed investor. We've had some companies that have applied that didn't even have necessarily their product out in the market. And he was talking about 10 years ago, that wasn't the case, right? You could raise Series A on just an idea, but now you really have to have your stuff up and running. You can't raise your Series A on a PowerPoint or prototype. You need to have a proven business model. And so now let's move forward in terms of creating an investor-ready pitch deck. So again, what makes a good pitch deck? I mentioned before, having a clear narrative, clear sense of direction. Most importantly, showcasing your traction. You'd be surprised actually how many pitch decks we look at that don't even have a slide, that we have no idea, okay, here's your product, you pitched me on this cool idea, but like, how much does it cost? How many customers do you have? How much are they paying you? And how many new customers are you acquiring each month? Like, that's really important to show the traction, because really that shows what the investment opportunity is. And also showcasing your team, really to show like why you guys are the ones to do it. And again, just driving home in terms of the clear business models. Here's an example. One of our accepted companies, Star News Mobile, where, the narrative, where he talks about the story. The story takes us to Africa. So he's launched a tech in an emerging market, really telling us the story about the company, his background, and the reason why they're emerging. It's the world's second fastest growing economy. That's why we're going to Africa, et cetera, et cetera. And a clear sense of direction, right? So kind of knowing really like, okay, this is how much we've raised, this is when, and this is looking ahead to where we're going. So something like this, right? Of like showing how much you've raised, how much you're currently raising, and your plans to continue to raise. And then this is, shifting back to a SaaS product. So again, that 1 million ARR is really a benchmark in terms of, what's important for SaaS companies. And then looking at, we see this 400% year-over-year growth, right? Like, again, showing really compelling metrics that show that you've built something that people want and you're continuing to onboard users. We see here even the subscription model is very clear: $29 a month, $239 a year, $495 live. You'd be surprised actually how many pitch decks I see that don't have this information in text. So it's, again, super important to show this when you're raising Series A. And again, here, show off your team. Where this is the point, the place where you get to brag about your experience, your degrees, all that good stuff. And again, the clear business model. So this is an accepted company, Tonebase. Essentially, it's a SaaS platform for learning how to play music. And then they're talking about how, music in Headspace and Calm for meditation, and then Peloton and such for fitness. And they plan to be, Tonebase will be the platform for learning music. Okay, now shifting ahead. So what not to do. So again, can't drive this home enough. Showing your growth metrics. If you avoid this, it's like a red flag, right? It's the things that you don't talk about, because it's, again, the most important piece to have in your investor pitch deck. If you don't have this, it's a red flag. Like, why are you avoiding this here? Also, not to reach out before you're ready, and also, how to understand when you're ready. This is where, like, historically from seed to Series A, where a lot of startups actually die, right? Like, maybe you've raised a seed round, and how do you like continue to scale? Investors don't necessarily want to come in and save this sinking ship. They want to inject capital in a rocket ship that's continuing to grow. Saying that you don't have competition, it's important to show that there's at least someone else, even in a parallel market, that's doing what you're doing. And even too, of saying like, you want to be specific on how much you're raising and why. Don't just grasp for straws and be like, oh, I'll take what I can get and we'll do this and that. It's like, you want to be specific in the amount that you're raising and stay firm around that. And so here's an example of like feedback.
Hey, Raychel, quick question about that last slide.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard a lot of insight over the years to start reaching out and warming relationships before you're ready to get investment, like 6 months, 1 year, just kind of getting to know an investor so that they can see your growth, and it's easier to close a deal when you're ready to. How does that synergize with this don't reach out before you're ready bullet?
Sure. So I would say, of course, reach out to build the relationship, right? That's one thing, to build the relationship, to get an understanding of the VC firm. And again, as the founder, you also need to do your research and see which firms invest in which type of companies and if they would be a good fit for you. And so in terms of, building those relationships, yes, of course. But you don't want to say, in terms of getting the chance to pitch, right? Like pitching and actually going in on that before you're ready. So.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
That answers. Yeah, exactly. And again, it's like, how do you reach out to these investors? Like, how do you build the network? I mean, and again, that's part of why we have this program, because we know it's, typically been so opaque and it's been challenging. And, this program aims to bridge that gap. But again, it's important for the companies to be ready to have something, sustainable in terms of what their business model is and their product market fit. And so this example here shows that, like, in sending over a pitch deck in terms of their application, they didn't have any metrics. There's no milestones, no historical financial data, no projections, no intended use of capital. I mean, this is all, again, red flags, right? If you don't have this information, it's like, okay, are you, too early stage? Is there no revenue? You don't have any good customer metrics yet. And again, this is what I talk about, like, before you're ready. So if you're reaching out before you have these good customer metrics, then it's not a good sign. And again, this is another, just some highlights here as well. In terms of being pre-revenue, I mean, again, like, revenue isn't always necessary to raise capital. You can have users, but you don't necessarily, but you really need to show that you have a working MVP. And then also being inconsistent, right? So their pitch deck says 10 million, and then when they sent the email, they were asking for 5 million. I mean, that's a big discrepancy. As a founder, you need to keep track of that kind of stuff and have that information ready to go. And also looking, and this is where I talked about, the deck alludes to the product having AI as a market differentiator, yet no one person on the team has technical experience. So these are again feedback from the investment committee in terms of why companies aren't accepted into the program. And I'm sharing this today to hopefully give you guys some insight on, I'm sure a lot of you here have technical expertise. So hopefully that won't be the case.
So these are direct bullet points from the investment committee on why they liked or didn't like a company. So we're getting into the mind of the beast right here.
Yeah, awesome. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I don't want to say who it is specifically or what the company is, right? Because but and then even here too, right? Look at the last one: capital intensity, time scale for sales and manufacturing, lower the ROI potential. And that's the thing. You might have a great company and building something great, but it might not just be attractive for VCs because they want something that's, high growth, low capital, into, in terms of, because that was, again, like, in terms of, well, Daniel, with Make in LA, hardware is hard because of the capital intensity, right? And so you have to think about, like, capital intensive businesses might not be the best, VC might not be the best path forward. Any questions here? Yeah, in terms of, I guess, what these bullet points are. I know we're getting close to time. Just want to be cognizant. And then, and I'd like to share with you the SoCal Venture Pipeline. So what this program is essentially how we're addressing the access to capital challenge that exists here in Southern California. I know a lot of you are around the world, but our organization specifically helps SoCal-based startups access capital. And so in terms of being Series A ready, these are some of the indicators. You've already raised $500,000 of angel or seed investment. You have a dedicated team. Again, your product is in the market. You're demonstrating traction. And then looking to raise in the next 6 to 12 months. And so we have a VC program partner. So this program also exists in San Diego, and as a result, it brought in over $650 million of Series A capital since 2015. And so, in terms of the matchmaking portion, we have an experienced VC program partner who does the matchmaking for us. And so, this is how it works. Once we have referral partners, we're working with Techstars, LA Clean Tech Incubator, Tech Coast Angels, a lot of the different angel syndicates. our online submission portal. Again, it's free for founders to apply. We take zero equity. We're really here to just help strategically match founders to investors. We have a lot of great people that help us review the applications. Again, that's where a lot of the feedback that you heard today is from our community leads and investment committee, who are sharing the reasons why or why not they should be accepted into the program. We're pretty selective. Only 10% of applications have been accepted. Because again, once accepted, we strategically match you to VCs, and what I've seen work best is that founders that already have their list of who they want to meet and why. And then from there, we can cross compare. We can, and again, our VC program partner will say, hey, this VC might not be a good fit. This is, you probably want to meet with this one instead. And so really the goal is to help navigate the fundraising process and alleviate the pain point that comes with building relationships and getting intros. So that's my shameless plug of what I'm doing with SoCal Venture Pipeline. And to summarize, from seed to Series A, just continue to focus on growth, telling your story in a very clear way. State what the investment opportunity is. I've again, with Make in LA and now with the Alliance, I've been in the fundraising space since 2017. And in a short time, I've got to understand, what's a good investment opportunity or not. So do what you can to educate yourself in terms of, business models, valuations and such. There's tons and tons of resources out there online. And last but not least, state the facts. So that's it for me. Here are the links to the program. If any of you are in SoCal, and my information here. Would love to connect with any of you that might be fundraising, or any of you that might be working with founders that are based in SoCal. Our goal is to help increase capital access. And that's it. That's time. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Raychel. One of the things that I know companies struggle with when they approach fundraising, and I personally struggle with it, is it's hard to get feedback from investors, right? You'll reach out and then you're getting responses, and then maybe things go dark and you don't know why. But one of the things I know about your approach personally, as well as with Alliance, is that it is heavy on founder feedback to help them know what they're doing right, what they need to improve on. I mean, heck, we even saw feedback to other companies today. So I just want to call that out as something that I appreciate about the approach that you and the Alliance are bringing to SoCal.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And that's the benefit of our program, is that you can't burn a bridge with us, essentially. Mm-hmm. We're here to be helpful to founders. And so we provide feedback, and sometimes might be the truth hurts. Sometimes it might, but it's, again, I think it's important, like you said, to know why. Like, well, why am I not accepted, or what would be the reason why this wouldn't be a good investment opportunity? And so, again, if you're able to take that feedback and incorporate that, again, that's also a super attractive quality, is that you can take critical feedback, incorporate it, and pivot as a result.
Wonderful. So we have time for maybe a question or two. So if anyone would like to, you could step up on the stage kind of between Raychel and I and ask. All right. A bit of stage fright, perhaps. Let's see. So what we can do is, if anyone would like to chat more with Raychel, any particular questions, Raychel, you could just kind of go and stand right outside the plateau area. Sure. Actually, we don't have an immediate speaker right now, so you can just stand anywhere on this plateau knoll, and then anyone who would like to further on the conversation with Raychel, ping her with a barrage of questions about, how to get your pitch deck right and what absolutely to leave out of it. Here's your opportunity. So thanks again, Raychel, for being with us today. Really appreciate you being here, and thanks everyone for being part of this experiment and dealing with it, technical difficulties and all. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Daniel, for having me. I'm going to move over to the side of the stage, and I would love to meet some of you. If you're fundraising or if you're not, if you're building something cool, would love to learn about it. So